Asking questions in Dunwich does not make you popular with the locals, but too many strange things are happening for you to remain uninvolved. The herd animals that should be placid stampede themselves into a bloody mess, or vanish without warning. Unseasonable lightning storms flicker above Sentinel Hill just outside of town. Swathes of forest have been destroyed by an impossibly massive force passing through. The locals give you only dark looks in answer to your questions, but their silence is proof of a shared fear. Something unnatural is in the hills. After the sullen treatment, you're not surprised when the men come for you in the dead of night. There are too many of them for you to withstand for long, and your screams for help are ignored. With an explosion of pain, you slip into unconsciousness.
So, hello everybody, and here we are with Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition, and we're playing Sentinel Hill. Basically, this is the setup, and I would like to introduce you to our intrepid adventurers. We have Sister Mary, who's over here, who's got the ability that once per round, another investigator within range, so within one space from her, and doors don't count, may convert one, let's see where I've got my dice to show you, one clue on a die to a elder sign, which is a success. She's got in 6 lives, 8 brains. Her strength is 3, her agility is 3, her observations 3, her lore is 4, her influence is 3, her will is 5. She has the poison mist, so she's our spellcaster, And she also has the scribe's journal, which means that she cannot be made to lose clues. Unfortunately, when I first set up the game, there was a little bit of a glitch and it didn't continue. The first starting items were way better than what we've got now. Next up, we've got Caroline Fern. She's the psychologist, and on her action, she or another investigator within range can flip one horror face down or discard one face down horror. She's got 6 lives, 8 brains, strength 3, agility 2, observation 4, law 3, influence 4, will 5. She also has the 25 automatic. Each one actually got a clue as well. We've got Vincent Lee. You or another investigator within range may flip 1 damage face down or discard 1 face down damage. He's got 8 strength, 6 brains, strength 4, agility 2, observation 4, law 3, influence 4, will 4. And he's carrying the Elder Ward, which allows him to add 1 additional die while a monster is attacking him. He also has 1 clue. And lastly, we've got Jenny Barnes, the dilettante. 8 lives, 6 brains. If you have no clues, gain 2 clues and discard 1 horror. That's actually a very powerful ability. So we want her to spend her clues like crazy, so that she always gets 2 clues and can discard 1 horror. Strength 3, agility 4, observation 3, law 3, influence 5, will 3. So they are now all stuck, as you know from the intro, in here. In a dungeon. So this is already changing, because when I first watched Tragic play this scenario, I only watched like the first 5 or 10 minutes of it, the starting tile was different. So obviously the fact that I have plenty of starting tiles does mean that they are changing them out. So we have various things we can do now. And for those of you who don't know the game, I haven't played in a very, very, very long while. So I'm going to probably be making mistakes. Yeah, we'll just have to we'll just have to see how we go. So each investigator has 2 actions. So you can move, you can search, you can explore, and so on and so forth. So this one is a search token, so something may be hidden here. These are usually, they denote doors, and at the moment these guys are locked in. It's dark, there's a darkness token here. And we will just check what darkness actually is. And what it does. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm not going to use the monster standees because I really dislike them with a vengeance. Darkness. Darkness is a feature that hinders an investigator's test resolution. An investigator in a space containing darkness, as we are in here, cannot spend clues to convert dice results or perform additional puzzle steps. Good. So that's very good, because I was going to use, because Jennifer Barnes also got the rope condition, so she's now, oh sorry, I was wrong. Range is up to 3 spaces away. Range cannot be counted through walls or doors unless an effect specifically allows it. Range can be counted through impassable, can be counted through impassable borders. Okay, so I guess that's when there's an obstacle. So these 2 are not in range. But if I was here, then this one would be in range, and if there were more, then they would be in range as well. So let's see what we're going to do, and I'm going to restart the app. And we will see how this works. Oh yeah, sorry, I also forgot that we've got a friend, Zebulon Allen. So let's check out what Miss Barnes needs to do. So she's bound by a rope, and she can attempt to no, sorry, that's wrong. Face down. You struggle against your bonds, but the rope is too sturdy to break. You cannot move voluntarily. This card cannot be dropped or traded. Actions. You attempt to slip your bonds. Agility 2. Now, she's got a really, really high agility. Well, really high. She's more agile than anyone else in the game at the moment. So she's got 4 dice. So let's just see what we can do. And she easily breaks her bonds because she only needed 2 successes. If you pass, you manage to escape. Flip this card. Any investigator in the space can perform this action. So somebody could have helped her. So she's now no longer bound, which is good. And then I believe she's going to encounter this particular search token. This particular token here to see what's happening over there. And we will see what the app tells us. When you approach the cell bars, you can tell the padlock is antiquated and you might be able to disable it. Pick the lock or smash the lock. Well, we'll just try and pick the lock. The padlock chills your palm as you work the interior mechanisms. Tap to attempt the puzzle using observation. No, her observation's 3. Like I said, we now have really bad starting equipment. Okay, so we're going to continue. And we have a puzzle. Okay. 1. And we can't make it because we don't have enough. Okay. One, 2, 3. And we can't spend clues, so that's that. We couldn't open it. So we actually need somebody with 4. So we're going to give this one to Vincent Lee. He's going to go next. And he opens it. The puzzle is completed. The padlock springs open and you push open the door. Discard this explore token. So we're going to remove this token. That was his first action. You may move 1 space into the torture chamber. We're going to do this. Here we are. So that was him. Next up we have Carolyn Fern, and she's going to talk to Zebulon Allen. Zebulon Wakely, sorry. Zebulon said he had a plan to stop the cult that has been causing trouble. What is your plan? Smiling, Zebulon begins to explain. See, the cult that formed the in Dunwich is led by a relative of mine, and old Wakely is a bit mad. Well, everybody who's read the Dunwich Horror knows that he's not just a bit mad. He actually pimped out his daughter to Yog-Sothoth, wants to call up powers that need to be, it's very difficult for me to read because it's so small and also the English is weird. What need to stay buried. He set up the whole of Sentinel Hill for the experiment scheduled tonight. Oh, great. The old man gestures across the dark dungeon. See that glow? The same sort of light was seen around the Waitley farm when the troubles started. He found some way to infuse beasts with unnatural strength, and since then his experiment has disrupted the weather round these parts. Okay. If we can escape this hole, then we could stop his latest experiment before something awful happens. It ought not to be too hard, and I can follow behind even with my injuries. That is, if you think you can manage it. Gain 2 clues. Wow, we love that. So we're going to give those not to Jenny Barnes. We're going to give one to Sister Mary and one to... no, Carolyn Fern was talking to him, so she gets 2 clues. So that was her first action. As a second action, she's going to step outside. And Sister Mary's last action is going to be to also step outside. Jennifer Barnes is still in there. Well, he took his first action opening the door, then he moved out. So he's now going to interact with this token. The table is stained and sharp metal implements have been left at... I can't read this. Arranged around a small object glowing faintly in the dark. What could possibly go wrong? Let's search this thing. As you approach the mysterious glow, you hear a shuffling sound from behind you. Move Zebulon Waitley as indicated. Zebulon Waitley steps into the room. That right there is one of old Waitley's bloody experiments I was telling you about. Taking this one down ought to help you stop whatever is happening up the hill tonight. Okay. The glowing object twitches, and you count the 3 twisted limbs covered in grey slime before the bile rises in your throat. Test will. Now his will is 4. He is a doctor. After all, so, you know, medical experiments he should be cool with. Whoops. Let's roll some dice and see how we're doing. Oh, easily. He gets 3 successes and 1 clue. So we're going to use the special ability of Sister Mary to turn this into a success as well. So we're going to indicate how many successes he rolled. 1, 2, 3, 4. Confirm. A small animal has been flayed on the table. That's gross. Twisted limbs pinned to small burned areas of the surface. When you lift the dead creature to inspect it, the glow fades and slime from its skin oozes between your fingers. You conclude that this was one of old Waitley's experiments. Well, we knew this already. Gain the forensic evidence unique item and 1 clue. Then discard the search token. Okay, so the forensic. So let's see. This is where it gets old, where I get old because I have to now start switching glasses. So let's see, we need the forensic evidence unique item, which is in the unique item deck. Forensic evidence. Proof of the victim's identification. Okay. So now we've got this. We'll put it with our friend Vincent. And that's that. So we are done here. And let's see what else happens. With the gruesome evidence in your hand, Zebulon uses his good hand to cover his mouth and nose. What a stench. I hope the rest of old Whately's experiments ain't quite so unpleasant. Well, you know, I'm afraid they will be. Okay. So everybody has taken their actions. So everybody's now done. Now I need to find the next step. And for this, I actually need the rule book. So now we're going to end the investigator phase, confirm, mythos phase. Let's see what happens. This mythos event affects the investigator with the lowest sanity, which is either Jenny Barnes or Vincent Lee. So, Jenny, Vincent, Jenny. Jenny is affected. You suddenly become aware of an invisible presence closing in on you. Test brain 2. Successes. Her brain is 3, her will. And she gets only 1 success. Yeah, so she fails. If you fail, you feel a wet limb shove you aside. Suffer 1 face down damage and 1 face down horror. Ooh, that hurt. Okay. Investigator phase. Let's see what happens next. First of all, we're going to use Carolyn Fern, who's going to let Jenny discard 1 of her horrors so that there is no damage, because I don't want to start out with loads of horrors. Then Jenny's gonna, she's gonna open this door, or try to open this door. From beneath the door, you can see flickering torchlight. Oh, great. Explore. The opening door reveals a dark tunnel and a robed man standing guard. Discard the explore token and place darkness in each of the spaces of the dungeon cave. So this one goes. We're putting darkness here and here. Continue. The man points one gnarled finger at you, screeching, "The test subjects are escaping!" You notice a silver glyph on the back of his hand flashing in the torchlight. Spawn a dark druid as indicated. Let's get me a dark druid, please. Cultists galore. He ain't one. Night Gaunt, Migo, Shoggoth, a zombie, 4 zombies. It's probably going to be the last monster that I find in my deck. Crawling one, another crawling one, a wizard, a dark young, a Dunwich horror. We might have to... Ah, here we are, dark druid. We'll just put him here. Good. Excellent. So, well, I guess that's not good. So let's see what happens next. Okay, so continue. A metal ring in the wall holds a large torch, providing light in the tunnel. Place the torch common item as indicated. So then why is there darkness here? Torch. Goodly. Okay. There's a strange pattern on the dirt floor of the tunnel. Place a search token as indicated. The tunnel slopes up to a door set in the rock wall. However, the door appears to have no handle. Place an explore token as indicated. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this up a little. Good. You may move one space into the explore area. So that would be Caroline Fern. She's not going to move in. Oh yes, she is. And then she's going to attack the cultist. I'm just going to attack with her firearm. You level your weapon and open fire, filling the air with lead. And that's agility for some weird reason. And she needs a success, 2 successes. Well, that one was... Okay, she gets 1 and she's going to use a clue because now there is a light source, so it's no longer dark. And she's going to convert this one into a success. If you pass, we don't. If you fail, your foe weathers the barrage of gunfire unharmed. Okay, that was a waste of a clue token. That's what happens when you don't read the stuff. Okay, so she's done. Vincent Lee is going to take a step outside, and Jenny Barnes hasn't done anything. No, actually, Vincent Lee is first of all going to heal her, and then he's going to step outside. And then we're going to have Jenny Barnes walk outside. No, actually, we're going to have Sister Mary walk outside, and she's going to attack that cultist unarmed, because she's now pissed off. Or attack with a spell. No, she's just going to attack him unarmed. As you grapple your foe, you attempt to lift it off its feet. Well, strength test. And she doesn't really, but she is going to use her ability. Oh, another investigator. So she fails as well. If you fail, your foe drives an elbow into your stomach to break the grab. Okay, that didn't work. So now we have Jenny. She's going to step outside and she's going to attack him. And she's going to use her knife. Strength 2. Okay, she only has 1 success. We're doing badly. Okay, nothing happens. If you fail, your muscles quickly tire and your strike is forced aside. Okay. That's it. Confirm, end investigator phase. Let's start the mythos phase. You suddenly notice the sound of crickets has stopped, leaving only unnerving silence, no immediate effect. the monster attacks. That was weird. Somebody rang my bell and then I just walk outside and there's somebody parking in the driveway blocking my car. I don't know what that's about. Okay, so let's see. The monster attacks. Moving faster than you anticipated, the druid exhales an oily smoke inches from your face. Brain. Will 4. It's a will test and you need 2 successes. So we're going to use Vincent Lee. And he's going to roll 1 additional die because he has an Elder Ward. He needs 2 successes. 1 success, but we're going to use Sister Mary's ability, so that's 2 successes. If you pass, you wave the foul smoke away before breathing. Each investigator must resolve a horror check against the monster within range with the highest horror rating. Well, there's only 1 in range. After all horror checks have been resolved, tap the end phase button to continue. Okay. Confirm. The druid is emaciated, with skin twisted by ritual scars and oozing bites. You fear the sight will remain in your mind forever. Suffer 1 face down horror. Do you not get to resolve a check? Okay, now I have to check how this works, because they don't even get to do anything. Like I said, it's been ages since I played this. Yeah, but how do you resolve it? Oh, you just take, you don't roll, okay. Obviously you don't roll, that's strange, but hey. I find that weird, but then again, I haven't played this game in a long while, so maybe this is how this is done. I would have expected that you at least get to roll, get to pass some, or, you know, attempt a test, but obviously you don't. Cancel, then we're done. End mythos phase, confirm. Investigator phase. Now let's kill this bugger. Jenny Barnes is going to try and hack him to pieces. And she needs to test agility. And she's going to use a clue. I know she's going to use Sister Mary's ability. Or is she? Let's see. Yeah, we're going to use her clue token to make this a win. If you pass, your blade pierces the enemy's flesh. The monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage plus your test result. So the weapon's damage is 1, plus 2 is 3. 1, 2, 3. Continue. And she's going to do it again. Attack with a bladed weapon. Agility, she needs 2 successes. And she gets 2 successes. We're going to use Sister Mary's ability. So she gets 3 successes. So she does 4 points of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he is dead. So that was a really good one. So this one goes away. Next up, we're going to, Sister Mary's going to take the torch. And then she's going to move 1 space, and she's actually going to dispel the darkness. What does Zebulon actually do? Is he following? As the robed figure falls with a scream, the silver on his hand seems to wither and explode in a spray of bright red. Something shiny clings to the floor next to the cult member, who dissolves into a foul puddle of tarry black. Place the silver key unique item in the dark druid's space. Jenny's going to pick up the silver key. I'm just going to move 1 space. And, sorry, that was Caroline Fern. That was what she wanted to do. And then we have this guy, and he's going to move here, and he's going to encounter this search token. The dark streaks on the floor seem to be a pattern of buttons. Search. The sharp smell of saltpeter lingers around the burns on the tunnel floor. Beneath the burns, you unearth a strange idol made of black stone, smothered into bulbous orbs. Something about the strange idol sharpens your mind, even as it crumbles into dust. Become focused, then discard the search token. So he is focused, and we discard the search token. And we are done. So we just assume that Zebulon Waitley tags along. Turning, Vincent Lee comes face to face with the unexpected shape of a monster, but it is, in fact, nothing more than a shadow cast by mundane objects. Vincent Lee suffers 1 face down horror. And he's on edge, our doctor is. Continue. Investigator phase. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take an action. Jenny Barnes is going to take an action which allows her to gain 2 clues because she doesn't have any, and discard 1 face down horror. Discard it. Next up, Caroline Fern is going to heal Vincent Lee of 1 horror. Jenny is going to interact with this door. The door has a glowing silver glyph on it depicting a key. You can explore only if you have the silver key unique item. Well, she does. She actually does. She has it, so we're going to explore it. The cool night air is welcome after the dank underground. You recognize your surroundings and gather that you have been imprisoned in the hills outside Dunwich. Discard this explore token and place the cave entrance and covered bridge tiles as indicated. Okay. Discard. Now it's going to get interesting. I don't know if we keep the silver key. So I'm going to pull this back. And let's see. Shouldn't really be that difficult to find the covered bridge. And it's actually, I believe, one of the big ones, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah. Here is the covered bridge. And then we have a small long one. Cave entrance. Here we are. Okay, so that's now the new layout. Search token goes here. Across from the tunnel mouth, an impressive silver maple has had something carved into its trunk. Place a search token as indicated. That's not good. Ahead you can see the covered bridge that crosses Bishop's Brook, though inside the deeply shadowed place, darkness in... Sorry. Though the inside is deeply shadowed, place darkness in each space of the covered bridge. Continue. With a harsh braying, a fusion of animal and man reveals itself on the bridge. Spawn a goat spawn as indicated. A goat spawn. I've got a child of the goat. A ghost, a riot. Dark druid. Dark young. Wizard. Witch. Crawling one, goat spawn. Here we are. And she lives over here. And a book has been left on the planks of the bridge. Place a search token as indicated. A boat is overturned on the riverbank under the bridge. Something is glowing through the holes in the hull with purple light. Place a search token as indicated. What is it with people dropping stuff left, right, and center? You know? If you are trying to be subtle, you cultists, you're losing big time already. I mean, you are not being subtle. One more search token. We'll place it here. And another search token goes here. Another tree over the river seems worse for wear. Place a search token as indicated. The stars above fail to illuminate more than your immediate surroundings. Place sight tokens as indicated. Sight tokens. Okay. 1, 2, 3. You may move one space into the explored area. Whose turn was it? I think it was his turn. No, actually it was Jennifer's turn because she was holding the key. So Jenny Barnes is done. Caroline Fern has had one go, so she's going to take a second. Sister Mary's going to step outside 1, 2, and then so is the doctor. And that's it. So I don't know how long this has been going on for, but I have a feeling it's been going on for a good while. But I'll continue. So Zebulon pushes out of the dungeon behind you, breathing deeply in the cool night. Move Zebulon Wakely as indicated. He's now here. Good. Good job getting out of there. We ought to move fast to find the rest of the experiment and destroy it before old Wakely realizes we escaped. That's a good idea. Good. So that's actually the end of this, and we're gonna end the investigator phase. I assume that actually our friend the goat spawn is gonna move in the mythos phase. This mythos event affects the investigator in an outdoor space with the highest observation. It can only be one of these 3. And the highest observation is well, it's actually Vincent Lee. Continue. In the wan starlight, you see the trees part, splintering and bowing away from nothing. There is nothing there. Suffer 3 face down horror. Will +1 negates. His will is 4, and he gets 5 dice because it's will +1. One. And he only needs 1. No, he needs 2. Okay, so each success negates 1 face down horror. He's going to spend 2 clue tokens so that he doesn't face any horror. And he's good. Continue. A monster bearing the twisted appearance of an old Wakely creation slips face free of the forest shadows. Spawn a goat spawn as indicated. Another one. So she's now down here. The goat spawn moves up to 2 spaces to be within range of as many investigators as possible. Then it attacks each investigator within range. So let's take this one first. 1, 2. Sorry. 1, 1, 2. Okay. This one also moves. 1, 2. They are in range. 2 people are in range. The monster attacks. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Stamping one split hoof on the ground, the creature roars. Thorny vines burst up around your legs, tearing through your clothes. Test agility. Now we have the doctor who's not terribly agile. And we need 2 successes. And we fail. If you fail, the sharp thorns make it impossible to escape the climbing vines. Suffer 1 face down damage. It's fine. We're not bothered. Next up is Sister Mary, who also has to escape. And her agility is 3. Must be a very agile convent she's from. And she fails as well. She also takes 1 face down damage. Good. Continue. Okay, then it attacks the investigate within range with the lowest observation. That would be 1, 2, that would be this one. The lowest observation is Sister Mary. The monster attacks. The creature lifts a heavy object over its head, then rushes forward, hurling it with an angry bleat. Suffer 3 damage. Agility negates. Yeah, she takes 1 damage. 2 damage. It's not good. That is really not good. Okay, so let's see. So she doesn't have to do a horror check because she doesn't see them, everybody else does. The creature begins to sing a beautiful, unearthly song. The words are a mixture of various languages, earthly and otherwise. Lore 2. Sister Mary rolls 4 dice. She's lore central. She only has 1 success, so she fails. If you fail, you do not understand the lyrics, but they seem to take root in your head and subtly alter your perception. Suffer 1 horror and become dazed. Great. Suffer 1 horror, and she's now dazed. What does dazed do? You cannot spend clues to convert dice results or perform additional puzzle steps. At the end of your turn, discard this card. Okay. She's dazed. Brilliant. Next up is our friend, the Doctor. His will is 4 as well. And he passes. If you pass, you comprehend the true meaning behind the words and shudder with fear. Flip 1 horror face up. He only has 1. Let's see what happens there. Minor shock. Resolve immediately. No additional effect. Flip this card face down. Okay. So, lastly, Jennifer Barnes. Her will is 3. Her lore is 3. And she passes. She doesn't have any horror, so nothing happens there. She's fine. Continue. We're done. End mythos phase, confirm. Investigator phase. Now, Vincent's gonna do some healing on Sister Mary. He does 2 actions on this one, and he removes 2 injuries from her. So that's him done. Sister Mary what are we gonna do? Caroline Fern first. Caroline Fern is going to move 1, 2. Jenny Barnes is going to move 1, and she is going to Yeah, she can't move and attack them. But Sister Mary can. She's gonna stay here where she is. She's fine, and she's going to use her spell to attack the goat spawn. Attack with a spell. You begin the recitation but stumble when you reach the final verse. You scour your memory for the remaining words and 1,000 voices fill your mind in reply. Test will. Her will is 5. She needs 2. And she has... Oh, she can't spend clues. So she fails. If you fail, your mind reels and the voices overwhelm your senses and you struggle to shut them out, then flip the spell you attacked with. Brilliant. That didn't work. That was stupid. The fog forms a hungry face. The hunt that hunts your enemy suffer 1 horror, then each monster in your space or an adjacent space suffers 2 damage. Okay, I take 1 horror, although I failed. Okay. I mean, I can live with that. And then each monster gets 2 damage. So, 1, 1. And this one also takes 2 damage. And then she gets a different version of the spell. Poison Mist. And since she has 2 actions, she's going to do this again. Attack with a spell. You press your palms together tightly and whisper over them the arcane words. Lore 2. Her lore is 4. And she passes. If you pass, you pull your hands apart and a cord of crackling energy reaches out, ensnaring your foes. Any number of monsters within range suffer damage equal to the spell's damage, divided as you choose. If you fail, you pull your hands dramatically apart to no avail. Then flip the spell you attacked with. Okay, so first of all we have 3 damage, which we're going to... because the spell does 3 damage. So we're just going to assign it to this spawn down here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then we're going to turn over the spell. Gas billows from your upraised hands, and you cannot cease the spell. Suffer 1 face down horror. Then the monster suffers 1 additional damage, and each other monster in your space or on an adjacent space suffers 2 damage. Okay, so she takes 1 more horror. That's fine. Then this particular monster takes 1 more damage, and the other monster takes 2 damage. That's brilliant. I love this spell. Okay, so let's take this one then. We're gonna remove it, put this one back. Okay, now, as far as I'm concerned, that was a really, really successful round. She has 4 face down horror and she has 8 brain, so she's fine. She can now discard the dazed condition because she's no longer dazed. That's the end of her turn. So let's see. We're all done. Mythos phase. The Mythos event affected the investigator with the most evidence. Well, that'll be... be Vincent Lee. Okay. As the pieces fall into place, you start to understand that old Waitley has made a beast of enormous power and has yet to perfect its presence in this world. As if thinking about it called its attention to you, a great invisible limb bowls you over onto the ground. Suffer 1 damage and 1 horror. Law negates. He doesn't get he only gets an injury because he does negate his will. Oh no, actually it negates all. Okay, I suppose. So he doesn't suffer anything. Confirm. The monster attacks. Everyone has to pass an agility test. Let's start with Caroline. She passes. Next up is Sister Mary. Her agility is 3. She passes. She's no longer dazed. Next up is Vincent Lee. His agility is 2. So he's going to use his focus ability to turn everything into a success. Oh no, he can't. No, that doesn't work. So he takes 1 face down damage. And lastly, Jenny Barnes. Her agility is 4. And she passes as well. That's good. So she has passed. Nothing happens there. Now the next one. Monster attacks. The creature walks towards you and holds out its hand expectantly. Test will 3. If you pass, you take an unconscious step backward and recoil from its influence. Well, the question is, it can't be everybody. She can't do this to everyone. She does it to one person, doesn't she? So I'm gonna choose. I'm gonna be, mean here, and I'm gonna choose the person with the highest will, and that's gonna be Caroline Fern or Sister Mary. But Sister Mary cannot afford to have anything else happen to her because she's already almost halfway down, and we pass easily. Oh no, we don't. But we're gonna spend a clue to make this a pass, and we're done. If you pass, you take an unconscious step back and recoil from its influence. Okay. Each investigator must resolve a horror check against the monster within range with the highest horror rating. It doesn't really matter which one that is because they're all identical. So we're gonna take this one. Yes. A wet, musky aroma fills the air as the creature scratches itself happily. It smells like old oak trees and mulled wine gone sour. Test will 2. So let's see. Jenny Barnes is going to roll 5 dice. And she passes. She's like, well, I've lived in musty wine cellars. Let's see what our crazy nun can do. And she fails. There is nothing we can do about that. And she's dazed and she gets a horror. Then we have Vincent Lee. And he kind of goes, yeah, we don't want to do this. We're going to lose his focus and he's going to be fine, because he says, well, I've spent my life in a pathology lab and I've smelt way worse than this. And lastly, Jenny Barnes, and she fails. Oh, and she's also then dazed. It's not good. Okay. Okay. Confirm. Okay, and I think we're gonna leave it here. And I'm gonna load this up.